The 2024 WWE Draft is starting this Friday, April 26th, and it's going to consist of superstars from SmackDown, Raw, and NXT. We all know the draft is an exciting shakeup where we could see champions switch brands. We could see top-tier superstars switch brands. We could see superstars from NXT get called up to the main roster. Main roster superstars go down to NXT to change their gimmick or revive their careers or whatnot. It's a super exciting time. New storylines, new feuds, new gimmicks. So today, we're going to go through my predictions for the WWE Draft. In this video, we're going to focus on the SmackDown roster. What superstars I think are going to stay on SmackDown, what superstars might come to SmackDown, and what potential feuds we might see down the road. Of course, I'll be doing videos on Raw, NXT, and free agents as well, so make sure you guys check the channel out for those. But let's get to it. How is SmackDown going to look when the draft is all said and done? Well, for one, I think The Rock and Roman Reigns probably won't even be a part of the draft. They're just going to be inherited, like they're going to stay on SmackDown no matter what happens. Obviously, huge storylines down the road for them going one-on-one with each other and the whole Bloodline fiasco, and of course eventually facing Cody Rhodes again, both The Rock and Roman. Safe to say they'll stay on SmackDown. I don't even know if they're going to be mentioned in the draft or how that's going to work. We'll see. And speaking of Cody Rhodes, I think it's official at this point. He is on SmackDown to stay. The WWE Undisputed Championship is going to stay on SmackDown with Cody Rhodes for the time being. He'll probably be the first pick or something. Potential unpopular opinion here. I think Logan Paul in the United States Championship stays on SmackDown because when you lose people like The Rock and Roman for a time period, you need people to hold it down. You need to keep the ratings up, and Logan Paul equals ratings, so I think Logan Paul stays on SmackDown for the time being. Also safe to say, I think the entire Bloodline stays on SmackDown. Solo, Paul Heyman, Tama Tonga, Jimmy Uso. I don't think they're going anywhere. And to name a few more, I think superstars like Jade Cargill, Tiffany Stratton, AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley, and Montez Ford specifically will stay on SmackDown. But let's get to the exciting stuff and talk about the new SmackDown superstars in no particular order here. I think the new Women's World Heavyweight Champion Becky Lynch will be coming over to SmackDown. I believe the WWE Women's Championships will swap. Not necessarily swap the actual belts, but just switch brands. So I see Becky Lynch coming to SmackDown, bringing the title with her, and having some potential feuds with Bianca again, maybe Jade Cargill, maybe Tiffany Stratton again, continuing that rivalry. And some more champions that I think will be coming to SmackDown. Awesome Truth. I believe that the tag team champions will also be swapped. So funny enough, and this kind of doesn't make sense when I say it out loud, I think the SmackDown and Raw tag team champions will have to switch brands but inherit that brand's belt instead. Awesome Truth and A-Town Down Under, both entertaining tag teams. I can see them making that a funny segment and making that happen, but I think Awesome Truth have pretty much fought a lot of the Raw roster already. Same thing with A-Town Down Under. They've been feuding with the same wrestlers for a long time now, and I think a shakeup would be nice because there's a lot of tag teams in the WWE right now, and I feel like they've kind of all been feuding with the same tag teams all year, so switching the champions, and especially those two teams in general, would make a lot of sense. I have Braun Breaker being officially called up. Obviously, he's already signed with SmackDown. We've seen him on SmackDown these last couple of weeks, but I think the draft is the new era and the official start of his main roster run. Now, what does that main roster run entail? Obviously, he's a freak show. The guy can have a feud with probably anybody and it'll be entertaining, but I think an early feud for him that would be really good is potentially a feud with Kevin Owens. That would be fun in my opinion. Maybe even some involvement with Paul Heyman, but that might be too early. He's obviously involved in all this Bloodline stuff, so I don't know about that. But he's going to be in the picture. Maybe that's going to mean something down the road. I don't know. It's also possible he continues this tag team run. I know he's had a lot of squash matches recently, but being in a tag team is not always a bad thing. He's got to get used to the main roster. There's no rush. We know he's going to be a star in the future, so being in a tag team again with Baron Corbin, who I think is going to get called back up as well. I don't know if you want to call that an NXT call-up or whatnot, but I think Baron Corbin will return to the main roster on SmackDown as well. Whether he goes on a solo run with this newfound confidence or he goes to tag team again with Braun Breaker, but I think those two coming up makes a lot of sense. Another exciting superstar coming to SmackDown I think would be Ricochet. I think Ricochet has fought everybody on the Raw roster so many times at this point. Obviously, human highlight reel, and hey, he could feud with people like Rey Mysterio. Obviously, it would be probably face versus face, but that would be some great action. Logan Paul's around, and we know that they're rivals, so they could probably go at it again, but I think a fresh environment for Ricochet, maybe even some quicker matches to showcase him going crazy would be good for him. Moving on, I think Nia Jax will be coming to SmackDown as well. If you guys remember, her and Jade Cargill had a few moments in the Royal Rumble this past year, so potential feud with Jade right off the rip, but I could see her coming to SmackDown looking for some new rivals and, you know, going back after Becky to try to win that championship. She was pretty close in the Battle Royale pretty recently, so Nia Jax on SmackDown makes sense to me. Speaking of which, I also think the tag team of Chelsea Green and Piper Niven will be moving over to SmackDown as well. Chelsea Green is obviously incredibly incredibly entertaining. And I think having her on SmackDown would be great. Gives her some time to shine, if you will. Imagine a Chelsea Green, Tiffany Stratton feud. That would be incredible. Chelsea Green and Jade obviously have been feuding, I guess, if you want to call it a feud, these last couple weeks, and that's been entertaining. So I could see stuff like that happening, and having a new women's tag team on SmackDown would help shake things up. I also think Bronson Reed will be coming over to SmackDown. Now, I know he's currently feuding, or about to start feuding, with Sami Zayn over this Intercontinental Championship. I don't know if they're going to have a match soon. If they do, it might be during this whole draft. That could still change things up, but he's hungry for a belt. Sure, he can go for the Intercontinental title. I could see him fighting for other mid-card titles, aka the US Championship. Maybe he becomes a tag team with somebody else on SmackDown. Maybe him and like Braun Breaker or something. I don't know. I just think he needs some new scenery, man. He's been fighting the same people on Raw for a while, I feel, and putting him on SmackDown might be good for him. I don't know. Just a thought. Now, here's an exciting one. If you guys have been following the rumors on the internet, Jacob Fatu, a new Bloodline member, I believe, will get announced not by the general managers, but by Paul, well, maybe not by Paul Heyman, but by the Bloodline in the ring during the draft. Obviously, they're looking to establish a new Bloodline with Jimmy and Jay out of the picture and Roman and Rock not there either. And according to reports, Jacob Fatu is scheduled to make his WWE debut within the next couple of weeks. Makes a lot of sense to bring him in during the draft. That'll be a crazy signing. He's a freak in nature, and it's going to be a very exciting addition to the Bloodline and to the SmackDown roster. Speaking of exciting, how about this guy? Braun Strowman has been off of TV for quite a long time. I don't know his injury status. I'm not sure if it's public or not as of right now, but I think he returns for a singles run potentially, maybe a tag team, but I just don't like seeing the guy in a tag team. I think he's too big, and his kind of his aura is too strong to be in a tag team. But maybe, to me, a guy like that needs a singles run. He doesn't have to have long matches. He just has to come in and dominate and get back to that Braun Strowman from, you know, a few years back. But he's been off TV for a while. Hopefully he's back and ready to go. That might be a stretch, but we all know he's an absolute beast, and he could be really exciting. Potential new gimmick for him, I don't know, but seeing him on SmackDown could be really cool. Those are my SmackDown predictions. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. If you guys think I'm right or wrong, if I missed anything, what your predictions might be. Now, obviously, this will all make a lot more sense if you guys know what I have to say about Raw, NXT, and free agents as well. So make sure you guys check out those videos when they're posted on the channel, so this all makes more sense. Like I said, the WWE Draft is so exciting, and it's fun to fantasy book and fantasy draft for a little here before we actually get down to it. Again, let me know in the comments what you guys think, and stay tuned to the channel for other WWE related videos.